I saw a billboard the other day that 15,000 people apparently die every day on the road.
People go into sleep mode while driving.
We're too impatient on the road and we don't always follow the orders.
If you're not policed, you can get away with murder.
Government is going to patale dintho tse nka pegale di avoid you.
It's scary driving on the road.
This thing is not just statistics. It's real living.
We are sitting with a problem that is totally avoidable.
If X amount of people die, how much does it cost the economy?
We are one of the countries that have more people that are dying on the roads.
Young people are a victim of a lack of synergy between all those parts as well.
Rtmc. Rtmc. R. It's R. Over TikToks. I got it.
Kisoka ka utla ka RTMC.
Is it RTMC? Road Traffic Management Corporation.
RMT stands for, I don't know the abbreviation.
RTMC. RTMC. RTMC, I'm a person on the board.
RTMC, I think it stands for Road Management Traffic Commission.
Different countries have road safety management bodies responsible for road safety in their country. In the UK, the task falls under the Department of Transport. In Nigeria, the body is the Federal Road Safety Corporation, while in South Africa, it is the Road Traffic Management Corporation. The Road Traffic Management Corporation, or RTMC, was established in terms of Section 3 of the Road Traffic Management Corporation Act, 1999.
RTMC is a body responsible for the regulation of traffic on South African roads. Our value proposition is very simple. We want to make South African roads safer. We have provinces as our key stakeholders. We form relationships on an ongoing basis, and we have partnerships worldwide as well. We are a member of the United Nations Road Safety Collaboration to ensure that we make South African roads safer, ensuring that we create a better, reliable, safe road environment.
RTMC is a lead agency on road safety measures. We're running a number of programs, not limited to the youth programs. We coordinate, develop the programs, we guide, we mobilize, we organize the youth in the country.
As shareholders of the RTMC from various provinces, our work is to monitor the work of the RTMC, direct its activities in terms of policy, but also build a symbiotic relationship of creating a oneness in terms of operations. That what happens in Gauteng must happen in the Northwest.
RTMC started its operations in April 2005. The corporation is tasked with the overall safety of road users and to instill responsible road usage behavior. The RTMC is mandated to establish and run an effective road management system to ensure the safety and quality of life of all citizens.
RTMC is very, very important, and especially in relation to road traffic. As its name also says, how do we manage that? How do we improve? How do we reduce crashes on our roads? How do we reduce fatalities?
The RTMC as an entity of government to protect the rights of ordinary young people and ordinary people of South Africa.
The RTMC is what happens above the roads. The regulation when it comes to law enforcement, the education and communication with regard to educating road users, making sure that we also play a leading strategic role of education and ensuring that we create programs that speak to the prevailing conditions on the roads, how people react, how our infrastructure is.
Many people do not know that The Road Traffic Management Corporation, the RTMC, they are the first ones when there are road crashes and fatalities. And they are the ones who lead investigations as to why did this crash happen or take place. They are the repository of the information on what is happening on our roads in terms of traffic and road safety.
South Africa is a signatory to the United Nations Decade of Action campaign, with a target to reduce fatalities by 50% by the year 2020.
Into ezwe Rtmc wengamela izinto emalana nomgwaqo.
Ma-Rtmc sesike sawabona nje babuya bebaleke sesike sawabona nje ngiwo acishe abagonyana nje vele
kulanda ama-holiday babakhona bazokufundisa boneza amaphepha ukuthi okay keep ama-passenger safe begade yonke into aphuzanga driver seat belt on ama-passenger right akekho umuntu ophuzele emoto yakhe.
My name is Blade Nzimande. I am currently Minister of Transport of the Republic of South Africa.
My name is Sendisiwe Chikunga. I'm the Deputy Minister in the Department of Transport.
My name is Zola Majavu. I am the chairman of the RTMC board.
I'm Advocate Makosene Musibi. I'm currently the Chief Executive Officer of the RTMC.
My name is Simon Zwane. I work for the RTMC as the spokesperson for the corporation.
My name is Dr. Motlhabane, Mpho Motlhabane, MEC for Community Safety and Transport Management in the Northwest.
I'm Refilo Mongale. I'm the Chief Strategy Officer here at the RTMC.
Traffic management kana road wala motor no adabe alebecheo tsela hornana is safe bokana kana.
Road traffic management, I don't know.
Igade nje thina driver nanani lemgwaqo sihamba kahle abantu behambe bephephile ngithi.
Road traffic management amaphoyisa JMPD.
Ka opinion like road traffic management ki the rules tse lo reng re tshwanetse re di followe. The rules tse di setulwe both for rona batho ba driving le batho ba sa driving.
Basically it's managing traffic, avoid traffic eningi ukuthi abantu be spend isikhathi esiningi emgwaqweni.
I road traffic management ngicabanga ukuthi ilapho khona okusuke kuhlelwa izinto emayana nomgwaqo ukuphepha nayo yonke into.
Multi-vehicle accident on the Mike 1 just before Empire Road. 3 vehicles involved. So what that is going to do now is put some real pressure on those links going through the Crown, turning up through towards Braamfontein, Parktown and Sandton. So if you're coming in from the Southgate side, expect the Mike 1 to be heavy into the Crown and then through the double-decker up there.
Midnight, inner city Johannesburg. As the long weekend began, traffic officials roved the streets, stopping drivers at various roadblocks.
What we're doing is having 22 roadblocks at once on roads which are interlinked, and that way we are able to stop a lot more drivers and screen a lot more drunk.
Statistics published by RTMC on their State of Road Safety Report December 2017 shows that there was a 20% increase in the number of notices issued. The most common offenses were speeding, driving without a seatbelt, and worn-out tires. It is clear that there is non-compliance with road safety rules. Lawlessness on the roads is a serious issue that requires a traffic officer who will enforce the rules of the road, who will protect and serve without fear or favor. RTMC has committed itself to develop just such an officer.
The difference between the traffic officer and the police officer, although they are both law enforcement agencies, But the traffic officer is responsible for safe use of the road.
Traffic officers are the ambassadors of South Africa. Anybody, even any tourist, the first person we come in contact with on our road, it's a traffic officer.
There are a few requirements for the person to become a traffic officer. One, in terms of age, you must be under the age of at most 35 years. You are supposed to have passed matric. You need not have a criminal record. In your matric, you must have some form of mathematics, the literacy, and English. So basically, those are the four critical requirements.
It is important to note that you will also need to have a valid driver's license in order to train to be a traffic officer.
We arise from an era where a traffic officer was trained for 3 months, subsequently went to 6 months, and now it's 12 months. The traffic officers, as of next year, they're going to be trained for 3 years. So that 3 years begins to say that a traffic officer will be having a RVQ 13, which we basically say it will be the qualification of the diploma, NQF level 6. So they can compete and engage at a very professional level with any other citizen in terms of the professionalism.
You can't talk traffic without managing it. You manage that through ensuring that you have, for instance, in the case of government strategies. You'd also have to manage traffic through human resources. And that is why our RTMC has a responsibility of ensuring that we have enough traffic officers that are ensuring that that which we say must happen on the road happens, that are ensuring that law is enforced. Because you can't talk law enforcement without human resources, but human resources that are properly trained. And that is why you are actually changing the curriculum from being the training of traffic officers from being a certificated course to being a national diploma now, so that we actually professionalize our traffic officers. Traffic management also talks to your equipment, the vehicles that you have to have on the road.
Bringing down the number of fatalities on our roads is not only government's responsibility. We, the general population, also need to play our part. Just how much do we know about road safety and laws of the road?
Crossing. Mangkabang PT robot obviously real angel. Mangkabang that's zebra crossing.
Iperela ini mangagesa ukuthi izwe izinto la ezigcina khona like ekugcineni kwezinto.
Injunction umgwaqo oyisiphambano.
A zebra crossing it's a line whereby uthola emgaqweni normally uthola maseduze nezikole whereby abantwana besikolo when you are about to approach a zebra crossing, you have to stop, and then abantu bayeqe umgwaqo, and then you can pass.
Jaywalking, okay, it's just walking, crossing a road, yeah, crossing relaxed. Ungayekho like let's say pedestrian crossing like a zebra ne, or ama robots like cross la kungamelanga cross khona.
safety must be taken outside the context of K53, because I think we need to understand that a traffic circle is a road traffic science that is designed according to the rules of the road. The law clearly indicates that the people that have the right of way in the traffic circle are the ones that are approaching the circle on the right side of the road. That rule always stands, but currently we know that people are being confused because when they come to circle, they don't understand these rules. So it's an indication that maybe the circle give an opportunity for us to create an awareness.
I'm not sure whether the government is doing enough. I'd certainly like to believe they're trying, but it still seems like there's a lot of accidents.
I don't think the government is doing enough to prevent road accidents. I think they're trying, but I don't think it's reached a point where it's enough because the number is still high.
Very high. Not to my thinking, government like as long as you it means teaching government is a lot.
The road accident funds tse tshwantse ba patale batho ka tsona and dintho tseo di ka avoidiwa because batho ba ka latela melao ya strata, batho ba ka ba more careful on the road. At the end of the day, government ke yone tshwantse patale dintho tse nka pegale di avoidiwa ba di tlogetse gore di ska etsagala. So e golo impact on the economy.
Traffic is a concurrent mandate. What we mean by that is that provinces have a role to play. Local government has a role to play. So if there is no body that ensures that there is communication and common policies around the spheres of government, you would have everybody doing their own thing. And what would also happen is that we will not be able to implement best practice because everybody's doing their own thing and the country would not have uniform standards, so to speak. And hence one of the big things that we talk about in the RTMC, in our structures that exist, is how do we harmonize? Do we have a common code for all of us to abide by so that road users have an expectation that when a traffic officer stops me, this is the procedure?
I think our legislation is good. I think issues relating to us as drivers following those regulations is another issue. We're too impatient on the road and we don't always follow the orders. A typical issue of renewal of licenses. In my opinion, it's like we just following the order of renewals instead of, for example, making sure that people try and you add some of the newer regulations so that at least if you renew, you also renew with some evidence that you have learned new rules and new regulation, or you have still shown competency in terms of understanding the rules and the etiquette on the road.
There is lots that actually goes into trying to promote road safety, but we won't win the battle of road safety if also each and every one of us, the drivers, the passengers and the pedestrians, they also tell themselves that it's not only government, it's not only RTMC, it's not only traffic cops, but each and every one of us has a role to play.
With deterring slogans such as bribery is a cancer, cut it out, RTMC is demonstrating its seriousness with its fight against corruption. Corruption and misconduct of officials will not be tolerated within the ranks of traffic officers, said RTMC CEO, Advocate Makhosini Msebi. RTMC's anti-corruption unit, together with the Hawks, made several arrests this year, after months of intensive intelligence gathering and observation.
I am a firm believer in not bribing. I have tend to find that if I show that I'm not willing to give a bribe and that he or she needs to write me out a fine, I've often found that they really want to bother in writing it out and have sometimes let me go.
Yebo ibribing ayikhokha intshontsho ngalikhokha ngalikhokha ukuze ngiphumele isimo siyobhene nazo ngaleso sikhathi leso.
I would never pay a bribe. I'd never pay a bribe. Stop by a traffic officer. Yeah. Ever. Just do the right things. There wouldn't be a need to be paying a bribe.
I'd pay a bribe if there's an emergency, like in a meeting,
My girlfriend is giving birth for what.
Andu bemadizi kanje ngoba noma ngachama ngidakiwe manje yabona ngidrivele umphakathi obviously abantu ngabanika 2 clipper wami yabona bazosuka bona bafaka iclipper bazayivayi cha ngaze ngabhadala ibribe estradini mara makudingakala ngayibhadala.
A traffic officer who gets caught taking a bribe is prosecuted, taken to court, but internally within the relevant authorities that they work for, there's a disciplinary action that also gets undertaken.
Things that I grew up doing as a young driver, which is wrong, is that if you pass a roadblock, you start flickering to the cars that are going the opposite direction. Be careful, there are traffic cops there. We must stop doing that.
Corruption is a societal matter, and it is also the mindset of our communities that all of us have a responsibility to deal with it. But let me zoom into our environment. In our environment, we have zero tolerance towards fraud and corruption. And it is on those bases that within the Rtmc, we have a wing of the National Anti-Corruption Unit called NTACO that decisively deal to root out corruption.
It's important that we have committed people, we remove the rotten apples and restore the reputation of the traffic sector.
Fraud and corruption are a huge contributor to the fatalities and accidents that we have on our roads. There's no doubt about it. It has its genesis in people that are not competent being declared competent by being issued with fraudulent driver's licenses. It has its genesis in motor vehicles that are not roadworthy being certified as roadworthy.
Our covert operations have led to some successes where examiners in vehicle testing centers who pass vehicles as roadworthy when they actually have not tested them have been arrested. We've also been able to arrest examiners in driver testing centers who actually are selling driver's licenses and learner licenses. But there's still a lot of work to be done.
There is this very sick attitude problem in South Africa that if you're not policed, you can get away with murder. Doing the right thing is doing the right thing even if no one is watching. You know the speed limit is 120. If you drive at 220, what do you expect? You are A, breaking the law, but 2, you know that in the event of an emergency, you are less likely to avoid an accident and thereby avoiding killing or maiming someone. We know these things.
We want to be that society that is free from corruption. We want to be that society that understands that we serve at the behest of our people.
You ought not to pay for someone to stand for you in the queue. You ought not to pay for an official to say, if you put an extra page in my ID book, you will get a space today, but otherwise if you don't, we're fully booked until next January. That is precisely the point. So those who are less qualified but who have the financial muscle would be the ones who would be licensed to be on your roads. And that is exactly the point.
A train collided with a bakkie in Cape Town at a crossing this morning, claiming the lives of 7 people.
Well, over 20 school children from Sokolumi near Bronkhorstspruit have died in a taxi accident.
KwaZulu-Natal has in the past been one of 3 provinces to record high road fatality figures.
This follows a fatal accident between a school bus and a truck on the R25 in Verina that claimed the lives of 18 students.
Around about 8:30 in the evening, we received the information that a truck and a Kumbi conveying passengers from north going south, and the truck was going north from south, where we lost about 11 lives.
A car crash on Beyers-Naudé Drive in Montgomery Park, Johannesburg has killed 2 people. A further 5 people were critically injured. It's reported that 2 cars were traveling at high speed down Beyers-Naudé when one of them collided with another car at the intersection with Prela Street. The road was closed for 2 hours while emergency services cleared the scene.
Ngonyaka, we can say more than 50 yabantu ebandlulayo emhlabeni ikakhulukazi emgaqweni kuma accident ayenzakalayo.
Maybe 8,000, I think. Mostly kaka festive.
I saw a billboard the other day that 15,000 people apparently die every day on the roads.
It kind of freaks me out, and it's kind of scary how much actually happens, especially when it gets to sort of like the Easter weekends or over the festive season. It's always kind of shocking to hear the statistics of how many people die.
Road traffic crashes remain one of the leading causes of death in South Africa. The Rtmc is a key player in road safety education. The corporation embarks on awareness and educational programs aimed at addressing the attitudes of motorists, passengers, and pedestrians.
This morning we listened to the radio, a taxi and a truck, there was a head-on collision, so many people died. It's a statistic. Not until you meet someone whose half the family has been wiped out, then you realize this thing is not just statistics, it's real living human beings.
Annually, an estimated number of 1.3 million people die on the roads globally. Every day, around 3,200 people are killed on the roads around the world. South Africa contributes roughly 40 deaths per day and 14,000 deaths per year. All these numbers are people. People like you and I. People with families.
Look at the number of people that are dying on our roads. We are one of the countries that have more people that are dying on the roads. I always refer to your Sweden. Today I can actually refer to Netherlands, to Australia. They're talking about 300, 400 people dying on their road per year. For South Africa, we talk about 250 per week. Today, about 33 per day. And if you just compare those figures, it tells you that we're not anywhere close to doing better.
Rtmc published a study called The Cost of Crashes, which basically has an algorithm to determine annually if X amount of people die, how much does it cost the economy? In the updated algorithm, you are able to determine that the current baseline is that it's 3.4% of the GDP.
In pretty much the same way that we had a behavioral issue challenge with regard to HIV/AIDS, road safety is the same thing. We are sitting with a problem that is totally avoidable, but we don't see it as something that is avoidable. But we can make a difference by educating and communicating constantly.
When it comes to road crashes, we're not doing well as a country. Do we have the capacity and the potential to do well? Yes, we do. Because if you look at location of accidents, they include your N1 to Limpopo, to Polokwane. The best road that we have in South Africa, they include your N4 to Mpumalanga, your N3 to Durban. These are freeways. Your N2 between Durban and Pongolo. These are national roads, beautiful. World class if you want.
When you leave your house and are going to destination X, you should be able to get there safely. But even if you make a mistake along the way, it should not result in a death. So often what we hear is, it could not be helped. It is an accident, and that is a misconception. If we all did the right thing, if we, as a road user, if I get into the car and I'm of sober mind and state, I am equipped to be able to drive, and along the way, I respect the regulations that are there, the speed limits and so on, and I am not antagonistic towards other drivers on the road. I understand that it is a shared space and the infrastructure is also adequate, then I will have a safe journey.
We know that there are two main reasons why people die early. They either die because they have such bad head injuries or higher spinal cord injuries that they can't bleed, or they die because they've bled out significantly. So in terms of those two, that is what has been known in our world as the major causes of death. So if you think about it, if my head is so badly injured that I can't breathe, I'm going to be in trouble. If I have so many areas of broken bones at different areas of vascular injuries, I might bleed to death even before I arrive to hospital. If the bleeding is even internally, such as a bleeding from a liver or a spleen or a kidney, and it's not controlled on time, I will die from bleeding to death. And those are the two things that we know for sure contribute significantly to why we lose lives earlier on.
The most cases that go through casualties, it's when people end up breaking their spine and end up in the orthopedic ward. That's one of the most common altercations for road accidents.
Today, my private size is 100, my taxi size is 2. Taxi driver is always la, every time. We ask, madam, see my long, we carry out taxi driver. We work to a taxi driver by some extent. Kube njalo imoto zishayisa everyday uma ungaphuma la ube seshayisile ngoba uma ungaphuma la uphuma amateksi awu-20
into ebulala abantu esikhathini esiningi uma ephuma emgwaqeni akacabanga ukuthi nayicabanga inkinga zakhe aphuthume kanti ukuphuthuma wakhe yikho lokho okuzodala ingozi. Kufanele isikhathi masikushayile usihloniphe futhi uhloniphelane nomthetho womgwaqo ngoba mabe ube late akusho usefanele ugijima kakhulu kufanele uhlale usemgwaqeni ucabanga ukuthi usemgwaqeni uhloniphe umgwaqo.
I feel like road accidents are caused most, the take I have, I think taxis, they drive on the pavement when there's traffic.
The driver, dinalo ha di driver, ba qoqa, ba lebale le gore ba tshwere batho. And le ho saye ho lo ithutela ho lo driver. Ke yona ntho e ke bonang haholo hore le yona e etsa di accident.
Cars that cause problems, apart from the human element, are cars that are defective, that are not roadworthy. Some cars are issued roadworthy certificates while they are sitting on logs somewhere in the bundus. And when someone has got money to put flat tires, on it, then it is on the road again, brakes fail, and 20 people, lose their lives.
I think we are a country that claims ownership of everything. It's my car, it's my road. I can do as I want, and so on and so forth. If you go to Kenya, I saw something which can never happen in South Africa. They use motorbikes for anything. And in one motorbike, you'll find that there are about 5 people. They use motorbike to transport goods, but there is no car that is going to hit that. No car. They actually are going to avoid them and overtake. They will follow patiently until it is safe for them to overtake. That can never happen in South Africa. It just cannot happen. Because we're not patient with one another.
We know what the problems are. Some of them which are very stubborn to deal with. Drinking and driving is our biggest enemy in terms of reaching our targets. Texting and driving, especially for young people. When I'm on Facebook, when I see people saying I'm live, on Facebook, usually they are driving. And I say, they're actually using the video of their cell phones, showing themselves, sometimes singing and dancing. That's dangerous, just like texting when you are driving. In other words, 90% of our road crashes and fatalities are as a result of human error.
The unintended consequence of irresponsible behavior is that you become a burden on the already depressed health system. You become a burden on the social security system, because once you are killed and you are a breadwinner, somebody must take care of your dependents. If you are injured, chances are you will no longer perform the job that you used to perform, and somebody must take care of you. It's not only about us issuing license, tickets. People complain that there are not enough police on the road or they're hiding under the bushes. Strictly speaking, we should be self-policing.
As a new driver, to be honest, it's scary driving on the road I use. I started like a driver from Naturena to via Cliptown, Eldos, and then into Pimville, Soweto, and I had to avoid it. I had to literally change my route because I saw terrible accidents on my way to work. It was just traumatizing, especially Banaba Skolo. You know, these are not quantums, but the Caravel. It's just horrific what I would have to encounter coming to work. It's terrible. There are just too many. And because of that, also apart from driving from home to work, I don't travel at night. I never ever. I'm literally arrested in my house, in my community, because I try so much to avoid traffic, the road. There are just too many fatalities.
Batho ba tshwanetse gore ba ikemisetse ha ba kena mmileng wa tsela ba ske ba driver fela go motho a tsebe gore ha kena before a kena mo koloing a tsebe gore o etsa eng o rwele maphelo a batho ba ba kanang
endawo kumele uhambe nge-60 sometimes thola ukuthi khona ozodlula nge-100 imoto ekugcineni makuqhamuka umuntu noma anything awusakwazi ukuthi ubrekelana nalana asawakhoseka ama-accident amaningi.
Umuntu ohamba ngenyawo uma ezokweqa emgwaqweni mama ezokweqa umgwaqo kufanele azazi ukuthi ngizokweqa umgwaqo. Kufanele ngiqalaze ngi-observe before ngijama umgwaqo ngoba imoto iqhamuka ngespeed esikhulu ngesikhathi iqhamuka ngespeed esikhulu awuzukwazi ukuyibona awukwazi ukuyikalela imoto uma umuntu wenyawo njengomuntu ongakwazi ukudrive. Noma ngabe uyakwazi ukudrive kodwa umthetho uthi mabo weqa umgwaqeni bheka ngapha left and right.
If you talk to the young people, they always argue that speeding doesn't kill. Except that they don't realize that the higher the speed that you need to stop, the greater the deceleration that you need to come to. Okay. Therefore, it's all nice to say speeding doesn't kill, but if I'm driving at 180 and somebody else is driving at 80 and we all react to the same conditions and we react to the same accident, the guy that is driving at 80 will have a better chance than the one that has to stop from 160 to that impact. So we shouldn't fool ourselves. I think we should realize that the higher the energy, the more the force that's going to be applied to the body.
We know that laws on their own won't work, but tightening the laws is important. For instance, now we are amending legislation to say if you continuously commit offenses, we're going to take away points towards your being allowed to have a driver's license. And when we have taken so many points, we're going to take away your driver's license. You are not going to be allowed to drive. We have not been doing that. We must do that. For instance, if we are violating speed, we need to tighten the fact that certain speed levels, you just have to be arrested and be put in jail. If we are involved in a road crash that somebody gets killed, you must spend some days or even a week behind bars in order to understand that this is very important even before sometimes you appear in court. We have to tighten that.
It's important for South Africa to tolerate one another. It's important for South Africans to not ban and torch trains. How do we socialize ourselves to respect what we own as South Africans, what we have as South Africans, including respecting the rules of the roads, our cars, ourselves, other people? I think that is important.
Cars that drive themselves have already been made. And in the near future, cars will probably be able to fly. For now though, using advancements in technology, the RTMC has launched a digital platform that enables you, the aspirant South African driver, to book your driver's test online wherever you have access to the internet.
This remarkable, groundbreaking and game-changing online driver's license and related booking services.
The launching of the driving license booking services that the Rtmc has done, it will open up a lot of opportunities for aspirant drivers who have to start with learner's licenses or driving licenses. From the comfort of your home or wherever you've got access to the internet, you are able to select a date and time that suits you at a center that suits you as well. You don't have to drive to all of the centers to get those dates. From the comfort of wherever you've got access to the internet, you can then book that. While you're standing in the queue, while you're at home, while you're working, you're able to actually book that service.
My experience is that, for example, when learners want to book for make an appointment for a learner's driver's license, they would queue, my experience from Mafikeng, from 5 o'clock in the morning, just for that. Now with this initiative, you really minimize that risk. With a lot of crime that we're experiencing in the country, you can imagine these kids being there working from home to a DLTC just to make an appointment. So we also, in another way, reducing crime, but also we are making sure that the speed at which we serve our people is an acceptable speed.
It's sad that you can queue for the whole day just for a service that takes you 10 or 15 minutes. So this is very important.
In 2,000 years, I think we'll have less road accidents because the Department of Transport will have solutions to improve so that people don't die to accidents.
150 years, everybody take him out.
100 years right now, there'll be no taxis. 2, maybe our cars, like the environment, like the petrol. Maybe our cars, they'll be flying, you know.
I think that cars in the future, we should have flying cars. That should be a goal in life.
Is that at South Africa we need to move quicker towards electric cars or cars that are using hydrogen cells. I think we are behind already. That's another thing that I'm passionate about. We need more research. If also we are also going to be able to contribute.
So if you talk Rtmc, you talk yourself, you talk your future.
There's a study done by the Computer Society of South Africa, and they found that the NATIS as well as SARS e-filing system were two systems which government agencies were in control of that had actually been well developed and well managed in the absence of a national strategy for ICT. Of course, over the years, the Department of Communications have got their house in order. There's been various strategies that have come out around eGov, mGov, mobile government services and so on. So with this delay that we have had with the litigation over the years, we're catching up now with that strategy.
Our future plan is to ensure that we become a service provider of note. And what do we mean that we want to be a service provider of note? We want to ensure that in each and every transactional space, we take a lead.
It's important to start by saying we are an infrastructure department, very technical in nature, very broad, and therefore beginning with what we regard as our important asset, which is our human resources. We believe that it's important that we continue to ensure that we have the best technical people. The capacity of the department and the capacity of our state-owned companies for us is critical. Who do we hire for which position and why?
We need to occupy space everywhere. That's why we use various platforms to communicate the road safety challenges that we have, but not only to communicate, to also empower. We have, for instance, community road safety structures that we establish in the provinces, and these become your foot soldiers to communicate and educate the community on road safety issues. Not only that, but to empower, and for us as the authorities to become aware of the challenges at a local level.
I think we are forging ahead quite positively. That's why, on behalf of the other shareholders, I'm here as chair of the task team of the shareholders committee to really appreciate the initiative that Rtmc has taken in terms of enhancing service delivery in an effective, efficient, and economic manner.
What should be at the center of the agenda of this department is to create an efficient, affordable public transport system.
Road traffic crashes are usually preceded by one or more traffic violations, which means most crashes are caused by human error, which means it is an attitude and behavioral problem, a problem that can be solved if we all play our part.